fired up.
4th down and goal from the 9. 17 seconds to go. The play clock at 3. Shotgun snap. Carr throws into traffic. Intercepted. Jermaine Pratt has the football.
Yeah.
Coffin nails.
Bam, bam, bam. How about that? It ends on a turnover.
Joe Burrow takes the snap. He takes a knee. And after 31 years, the drought is over. It is no fluke. It is a fact. The Cincinnati Bengals are headed to Super Bowl 56.
Welcome back. It is another episode of Pardon the Punctuation. I am Aaron Smith, joined as always by the self-proclaimed best producer in the city, Ed Mayhall, and my cohort in crime. It's funny because it's Jeff Howell.
What's up, boys?
It's been a week, fellas. It's been a week.
It has been.
I am all but moved out of Cincinnati at this point. All the furniture is here. Got it in today. And moving's not fun. When was the last time you guys had to move?
It's been like
years.
6 years.
Yeah.
It is a miserable experience.
Wait until you're on the other side of 35 and you're moving.
No,
That's when I hire movers. Yeah.
I don't ever want to do that.
It's
Yeah.
awful.
I thought you said you were going to hire movers.
I hired movers to help me get out of the apartment. And then I had a U-Haul sitting in the driveway yesterday and today and emptied it out today with the help of a nice man here in Athens who's one of my coworkers.
Joe Burrow?
My coworkers' fathers. Or my girlfriend's coworkers' fathers.
The other Jeff over here in chat saying he moved a year ago, but he only moved up one floor.
Oh, a condo.
Well played.
That's a smart, savvy move there.
Yeah.
Last time I moved,
Still a pain in the ass. Like you still have to pack everything up and you still have to
oh,
move
it's awful.
Oh,
Last
it's the
time
worst.
When we moved the last time, we literally sold our house, and then we couldn't move in to our new house for like a month and a half. So we lived with a friend, and like
had everything in storage.
Half of our stuff was in our friend's basement, and the other half of our stuff we packed into one of those pods.
Yeah.
It was like movable pods. So like packed it all in there, and it, they take it and then they deliver it or whatever. But it was awful.
Yeah, that's exactly what we did. We moved out of a house and we had to go live in an apartment for 6 months. And we just put everything in a pod and had it sent off. And then you did I put that in the pod, or is it here in the apartment somewhere? That's the worst.
Let me tell you, there's still boxes in my basement.
Oh yeah, in the garage
that I have not unpacked. They've been boxed up for 6 years, so I could probably go get them and throw them in a dumpster, and my life wouldn't change one way or the other.
Yeah, same here. Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, it's terrible, awful moving.
And then before we move into any kind of talk, we need to discuss a very serious matter that occurred this week in this group. And
he's talking about an article of clothing, and it's not
is wearing the evidence.
It's not the Jesse Waker Nick Castellanos shirt I'm wearing.
It's not the Park Baller Z shirt. What it is somebody in this group found the cool Diamond White Collection Super Bowl hoodie in stock. And not only in stock, but on sale.
On sale. Double on sale.
And discounted.
Discounted.
Hashtag be better, Ed.
And then,
if we're going to be fair,
then took a picture of himself in it, and flexed on the group.
Didn't send said picture until 10 minutes after he left?
Yeah. Oh, look what I got. How cool is this? And it wasn't close by. And then
it's pretty close by to you.
Then his solution is, well, just drive out there and get one.
He's clearly not trying to give away where to go get these. Just making sure that you're reading through those lines, Ed.
Don't tell anybody?
Correct.
Okay, all right. I did find them.
Unbelievable.
Hey, and here's the best part about it. I actually found one of my size.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ed.
It's
I
nice.
bet my size was there then.
I was gonna say
Probably not anymore.
Don't worry about
was.
the
What's your
common
size?
sizes like ours.
What's your size?
Large.
Yeah, they had one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
small too.
Maybe next time. Hey, Jeff, I know you talked about this, I don't know, the
Well, this
entire
is like-
end of the Bengals season, and you couldn't get one.
in the same conversation, like the same group chat.
This is like multi-material. Like this is like a stretch material in the sleeves, and then like this is like windbreaker material in the hood's windbreaker.
I'm glad it's a great hoodie, Ed. I hope you enjoy it.
It is a
And I
nice
also
hoodie.
hope that you drip galactic fried chicken sauce on it.
I did save the tag though. I got the tag right there.
I don't know what news Greg is trying to insinuate here, but did you guys hear the joke about the Jesuit school hiring a known cheater?
I did.
I didn't hear the joke, but it's probably really funny.
Something about a Buick and a Cadillac.
It's so weird. So
Yeah.
weird. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Is that the guy that cheated and still couldn't finish higher than like fifth in whatever conference he was in?
Yeah, I think never made
okay.
it past the Elite Eight, but apparently he's a GOAT, according to another Xavier podcast.
The goat of wiretaps.
The GOAT of wiretaps. The GOAT. By the way, how are they look right now? They're down by 1 against Vandy.
Or are they still? They're still in the.
How does this coach feel? How do you think that coach feel? Like
I don't
how
know.
do
We're moving on from
Yeah, we're not
Travis
discussing.
Steele.
any eggs talk.
Man,
I prefer them scrambled if anybody cares.
he gets fired so that his old boss can come back.
Yeah.
That
Shame.
suck.
Smooth move.
Hey, banners
All
on.
right.
Yeah.
So in
Boardwalk.
big news, the Bearcats had some guys who are leaving via the transfer portal. A rundown of the names real quick. They include Mike Saunders, AJ McGinnis, Mason Madsen, Rob Banks. Obviously, you also had the out of Adu and Koval as they were seniors going out. So you had 3 incoming freshmen in Daniel Skillings, in Josh Reed, and in Sage Tolentino. And you have currently, as things stand, 3 open scholarships. And that's, of course, still who knows if that's the final number, as we're awaiting to see what David DeJulius does. We're waiting to see if any of the other guys, including that we haven't heard from one way or the other, including Jeremiah Davenport, Odi Aguama, Hensley, and who am I missing? Mike Adams Woods.
Mike Adams.
Because we also heard from Vic that he's staying.
Yep,
we already knew Newman. John Newman was staying. So I don't know. I mean, were there any surprises there for you guys?
No,
I don't think I was surprised by many of them. Sucks to see. Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna
Use
drink.
your words. His name's Mikey.
Mikey.
Yeah,
That's who
it
you're
sucks to see
looking for.
Mikey Saunders go because I feel like he was starting to progress towards the end of the season.
I
Still,
love how we knew who he was talking
Yeah.
about.
I mean, he was still kind of reckless. I mean, dude, fast as hell, but when he got to the basket, just but I saw some progression. But it sucks. But hopefully he'll move on to a team that he gets more playing time, and that'll be good for him. I know there's a bunch of teams already looking at him, some MAC teams, I guess.
Also AAC teams. There were a couple
AAC
AAC teams in there. Miami. I'm assuming Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll see him next year.
Yeah.
They run it back. I think probably the common theme throughout all of them is when they all entered, you didn't hear any of them have anything negative to say about the program.
Right.
Mason, when he left, specifically said that he believes that Wes is the right guy for the job, and he's somebody that was there under the previous regime, and it has gone through a full year of Wes Miller basketball. And I know Chad touches on it regularly on every other podcast, including ours, that the way as far as he understands the way that Wes handled everything, the way that it's been portrayed, is that there were conversations that were had, sort of this is where we see you, maybe your role or where you're going to develop to. Where do you see yourself? Do these things line up together? If they do, all right, we'll see what we can do. If they don't line up together, maybe we look at a different role, or maybe you need to see somewhere else that they could use you in the way that you see yourself playing and reaching your highest ability.
And I think you said something important there, Jeff, was like, there's no hard feelings. I think there's a lot of people who are on so much Twitter, but at least Facebook, who are like, these guys are quitters again. Bro, I wish I could do this at my job. I mean, by the way, you can just open up your profile on LinkedIn, but this is a lot different than last year's Exodus. Like, this is what? I mean, you knew I was going to bring it up.
No, I mean, it's just, by the way, you can quit your job.
Yeah, you can. It's real easy. You go to careerbuilder.com and there's a bunch of them out. There's a bunch of them out there right now.
Is monster.com still a thing? Can they do that?
Monster might still be a thing. I don't know.
There's like
Glassdoor. Yeah.
Glassdoor. There it is.
There's all kinds of them, but it's a lot different. This is not, like you said, Jeff, this is not last year's Exodus. This is not, we're leaving because the coach tried to kill us or did kill us. This isn't, we're leaving because there's going to be some guys who are coming in and we're not going to get the playing time that we got this year. And so I want to move on somewhere else and get some playing time.
I don't know. For me, like, especially we can talk about all these guys individually here. I mean, if we're starting with Mike Saunders, obviously you had a starter above him all year this year. He was coming off the bench. So he would have to beat out Micah for a starting role. You have, I think Wes has all but let it be known that he's going to be going into the portal after a point guard. So say you bring in, and I would assume that would be a starting caliber point guard, not necessarily, or at least somebody to champion against Micah for that starting role.
Iron sharpens iron.
Right. I don't think it's going to be one of those things where you bring in a guy and you automatically hand him the keys. But I would also think that you'd have some type of, who's going to win the battle. So obviously Mikey would be in that conversation. But I would also think if I'm him, maybe it's hard to jump Mike Adams-Woods. He had quite the roller coaster of a season this year where he started off. I don't know why you're making that face and what your hands are doing.
Yo, there's a cell phone pocket in this hoodie.
We have them in our Pardon the Punctuation hoodies as well. I've told you this before.
Damned.
Jesus. I told you I use it for my vape.
Oh, yeah. That says going to blow up. Sorry.
But, yeah, so with Mikey, like, you have to jump maybe not one, but now two guys to try and get those minutes that you're looking for. So, I kind of understand where he's coming from. With AJ McGinnis, he struggled. He was, Chad said it tonight, he was the 12th man on the roster. When you're running in a rotation of 11, which is deeper than any school, especially schools that are in contention, which is where this program is trying to get, that's a very, very deep rotation. And if you're trying to play as soon as next season, any type of minutes, you're going to struggle. As again, Cincinnati's trying to bring in more talent, not necessarily talent less than AJ McGinnis, you're going to struggle to find those minutes. With Mason Madsen, you already have Daniel Skillings coming in as a freshman who's very well ranked. He's longer than Mason Madsen. You also have John Newman. So I guess maybe at the 2 potentially, but I would also think if DeJulius comes back, you're going to be looking for another. Maybe you have Skillings playing some 2, kind of slide between that 2 and that 3 spot. But I would also think they're going to try and bring in another scorer, especially now that you have 3 scholarships. Maybe you get a big, maybe you don't. But I would think that those are going to be the 3 spots you look for as you now have 3 scholarships available: a point guard, a center, and somebody who can play that 2-3 spot as a stretch scorer. Rob Banks, I think he's a walk-on.
He said, yeah, he was a walk-on that was given a scholarship. I know we brought it up. Like I didn't even remember him getting into a game this year.
He got in. He got in a couple times.
We got three scholarship spots open.
Three spots.
So, that's
as things currently stand.
Yes, it could be more towards the end of the week. Yeah,
barring anyone else entering the transfer portal, and the way Wes likes to do things is he likes to let those kids make their announcement and do it their way, however they're going to do it. So,
well, and one of the things you guys kind of alluded to, but I don't know that you said it exactly as much. One of the things it kind of goes back to there not being those hard feelings as they leave the University of Cincinnati, is the fact that Coach has been very clear about, I'm going to be honest with these guys, and we're going to have very honest conversations about where I envision this team, where I envision what they're going to be able to contribute next year as things currently stand, unless you see, some type of huge rise from any of these players. But even as you look at the end of the season, the only player that I can think of that made a very strong case for needing more minutes, and eventually in the AAC tournament, he received those minutes, was Jared Hensley.
Yeah.
Nobody else really made that kind of a step forward throughout the season.
Well, I know we talked about it a lot during the season. Was at least at the beginning of the season, we were saying things along the lines of, there's no one on this roster that's demanding that 30 plus minutes kind of guy. I think we could probably all agree that towards the end of the year, David DeJulius kind of became that kind of guy, at least on this team.
Yeah.
And when you have that hockey style rotation, how I described it at the beginning of the year, you really can't have a guy like that if you're going to keep a rotation that deep.
Right.
And when he comes forward like that, and then you got guys that, like you mentioned, AJ McGinnis kind of being the odd guy out, and then Hensley he started to shine a little bit in his own right towards the end of the year. So those are some positive things to look at. And obviously, once the basketball tournaments that are going on all end, and the portal starts filling up, we'll probably have a little bit better grasp on who to look for. There'll probably be names that'll get floated out there.
Well, I guess if you think about it, you're bringing up Hensley. If you think about like where his minutes are going to come from, because right now, as things stand, you had Adu and Koval at the 5, you had Davenport at the 4, you had Odie and Vic spelling guys at the 4 and the 5. And where's Hensley's minutes coming from that he's demanding to have more minutes? They're coming at the cost of the 3 spot and what little time he could get at the 4 spot. So that's, again, that points right at Mason Madsen. Like, we're going to struggle to get you on, especially bringing in a Daniel Skillings. Where else can we slot you?
Yeah. And go ahead.
I was just going to say, as the roster currently stands for next season, I would imagine you have Odie and Vic rotating at the 5 with Sage spelling some time somewhere, potentially. I know he's just so small in his frame right now. He's tall, don't get me wrong, but he's just skinny. So he's going to need to put on some weight, I would think.
There's a factory for that.
Right,
yep.
Right.
I know a guy.
So I guess you would have, again, as things currently stand, maybe Odie and Vic, maybe a little bit of time at the 4 spot. But you have Davenport solidly in the 4 spot with potentially Hensley as the backup there. And then you have Newman at the 3. You have DeJulius at the 2. You have Micah at the 1. And then you have Josh Reed coming in for some time, potentially at the 3 or the 4. You have Skillings coming in for some time at the 2 or the 3. And I just don't, with the guys that are leaving, I don't know where else you could have fit these guys outside of that point guard spot. But again, I think you're going to be seeing a point guard come in. You're going to be seeing a center come in. And there might be some fan favorites that simply don't have minutes next year from this season. That where can you get them on the court with the guys that you bring in? So
I know last week, I think it was Chad and Dave had a fairly energetic discussion reference all of this, and that was on the BCJ podcast from last week. I'm not going to rehash it here, If you want to see listen to their takes on it, you can jump over to their YouTube channel and listen. It's the second, and I believe it's the second hour. The first hour is probably something you should listen to.
It was.
If you have,
it was definitely the second hour.
Okay, so it's the second hour that they got into all that. The first hour, I believe they had Cunningham on, correct?
Yep.
Yep.
Cunningham.
Absolutely.
Not to be mistaken with Willie.
There's timestamps on the YouTube page, but I'm working on getting hyperlinks for the timestamps. So,
but they got into it. They got into it pretty deep with some good discussion that was going on. So if you want to jump over there, listen to that. Don't do that now. Keep listening to us for.
Hey, can we get a timestamp sponsor?
That's a pretty good sponsor that we have over there. They're apparently going to be sending Urban Artifact out to me to drink during the show.
We're not talking about them yet until they sponsor us.
I mean, they're part of my family, so we're looking forward to it here.
So
yeah, that's
all right.
crazy.
Well, you guys have anything more about basketball? I know the tournament's still going on. The terrible officiating there. So
well, I guess my question.
The tournament's been fun. Do you guys not think the tournament's been fun?
I mean, this is the first tournament I think that I've been free to watch every bit of it.
Yeah.
I honestly haven't been watching a lot of it. I've been waiting for my Apple TV to jump up with a little notification that a game's close at the end, and I flip over and watch the end.
I'm watching the full games. UCLA.
I haven't had time, so.
I still have all my Final Four teams on my bracket.
I don't. I only filled out one bracket, and that was the Cam's like to help his guy out on his team. So
yep, I did one as well there, and I'm above you in the standings.
Yeah, because
nobody sent me a link for that.
St. Peter's has totally
sent a tweet out for it and put it in the group chat.
Oh, did
he actually called you out specifically, Ed, and said, "Come on, Ed, come off that $10," and you did not reply.
I missed it. I would have done it. My bad.
The same reason that I'll post a clip and then 15 minutes later you'll post the same clip in that same group chat.
Oh, but when Jeff does it, it's okay.
No, we all make fun of each other when it happens.
Moving on.
Goodness. But no, I'm just kind of curious as we enter the transfer portal that Chad said tonight, I believe closes May 1st, I think he said. So we know we want a point guard. I'm assuming that you guys would be good with somebody who can run that 2-3 spot as a scorer as well. So it's not just David DeJulius.
It would be nice.
And in a 5, what kind of build? What kind of guy are you looking for? Like, is there a specific attitude you're looking for? Is there a specific body type you're looking for? Is there a specific skill set you're looking for? What kind of guy are you looking for all 3 of these spots?
I think I'm looking for a leader. Like if we're going to talk about attributes, I think I'm looking for a leader. Right now, and you said it earlier, or maybe it's Jeff, that DDJ has kind of stepped into that leader role, but we don't have a clear defined leader, right? We don't have that Jacob Evans guy, right? Or that
Jacob Evans was quiet though.
No, but I'm talking about that guy who, when it comes down to the last shot of the game, who's going to take that shot. We don't have that guy right now.
I think there's a difference though between a leader and the guy that is good with the ball in his hand at the end of the game. I guess when you say the word leader, I'm picturing a vocal leader, not a.
Oh, okay, that's fair. No, that's fair. What I mean? Yeah, that's fair.
So I guess
I should change it to. I guess I'm looking for a guy we can count on. How about that instead of leader?
The dog mentality.
Right. Exactly. Like JT said last year. Yeah.
I just wanted some clarification. I wasn't trying to.
No, you're fine.
Call you out on that.
No, just somebody that we could count on, right? It's a reliable guy, right? A reliable guy. Somebody we could say, like I said, it's last shot. We're putting it in this guy's hands.
Well, I don't even know that DeJulius isn't that guy. I think the problem is that everyone knew he was that guy.
Yeah.
So he was getting double teamed because the only other guy you had was Davenport. So you throw an extra guy kind of running between those two guys on the arc there. Who else is going to shoot it? So I think that'll be interesting to see how that develops, depending on who they bring in, or even with the guys that they currently have on the roster.
There's a 4-star point guard in the transfer portal right now, hometown of Toledo, but he's transferring out of Michigan, and that worked out pretty well for us last time with DDJ. So maybe that's somebody we can look at in the transfer portal.
As far as those like 2-3 spots, I just want some more length.
Yeah.
Want some guys that have some length. That really was an issue.
Yeah, I mean, you look
this
at
year.
You look at Houston, that's still in the tournament. You look at Memphis, who I think they got hosed out of their win.
That's okay.
If I'm being honest.
That's all right.
If you go back also and look at some of like the better UC teams of before, like they had a lot of length across every spot.
Yeah.
So that would be
Trevor
good.
and yes.
As far as a big guy, and I mentioned this in the group chat the other day during the game, there is a young man that plays for Texas Christian University by the name of Eddie Lampkin.
That dude was
that
monster.
guy.
He is 6'11", 268 pounds, and he plays like at 1,000 miles an hour.
He came into the season at 285.
Do you know who he reminded me of as I was watching him? Tractor Trailer. From the old days at Michigan. Do you remember Tractor Trailer? Like Robert Trailer, who I believe is no longer with us, if I'm not mistaken.
All I know is he was a big imposing force in the lane. He went up, he got the ball. He did everything you want a big man to do, and that's what I want here. And I said specifically the other day, is there a way we can work out a deal? I know.
Ed, can you find a picture of him?
I'm pulling up right now.
Because the only thing I want to say about this guy,
I know we're also heading to the Big 12, but can we make a trade? Is there some sort of
Well, if he's a junior, he's a junior, that's fine. Oh, he's only a freshman. He's only a freshman.
He's a freshman. So we need something to combat that.
All I want to say about that dude is the hair didn't match the body, right?
No.
The hair that did not match the body at all. I didn't understand what look he was going for.
I thought really that his legs looked a little bit skinny
for the size frame he was.
Yeah, but it didn't impact his ability to do what he was doing in the paint. I mean, that's the kind of guy I want. That's what I'm looking for. You know, and you alluded to it earlier that look at that guy.
Could you imagine if Mike got a hold of him in the Monster Factory?
Thick with 3 C's.
Yeah, you're damn right. If Mike got a hold of that guy in the Monster Factory, good God. It'd be like I don't know who all over again. I guess Andy Fortson was a pretty big dude.
Max Seal.
Jason Maxiel. Yep.
Eric Hicks.
You're right. I should have thought of those names.
It's a big dude. So yeah, that's the kind of guy that I want.
But how about in that game? In that game, he had a dunk that nearly brought down the damn rim, and he did not get a technical. But then later on, that other guy from Arizona got the technical for swing back.
Was that the same? Yeah, that was the same game.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was a horrible call, and I think everybody knows. Even in the broadcast, they said that was a horrible call for that technical. Because if he hadn't,
well, there was that one. Then wasn't there another game where they had where there was a technical called on a dunk that was absolutely ridiculous because the dude was literally parallel to the ground. If he had let go, he would have just dropped on his face.
I think. Are you sure that wasn't the Arizona game that you're talking about? Because if he lets go where he was swinging, he would have hit his face against the bottom of the rim.
You're talking about the Arizona game, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he would have fallen on his back, essentially.
There's some ridiculous calls that I've seen, and non-calls. Seems like games are being called one way in the first half, and then even.
This is dunked by Lampkin down there at the bottom.
Was a rim rocker.
It's a big guy.
But Aaron's muted. I got it. Oh.
I'm embarrassed. I can't remember his name. What was his name? Oh my God, you guys are gonna hate me that I can't remember his name. He was on the Bearcat Jam team at the 5 spot.
Coriante DeBerry.
No.
Oh, yeah, DeBerry.
Oh, Yancey Gates?
Yes.
Yes.
I can't. I don't know why I couldn't remember Yancey Gates' name. But again, those are both two bodies that were, closer to this than what we've had over the course of in just playing styles, or closer to that Bearcat style than what we've had over the course of the last, 4 or 5 years.
I got confidence that Wes understands what he needs, and
it's just a matter of if you can actually get it from the transfer portal.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, it depends on what's out there, what's available. I mean,
and who wants to come here? Just because you offer somebody doesn't mean
right.
It's not a menu item where you just, I'll take that one.
Yeah, exactly.
That one and that one. Thanks.
Right. They're like, no. I got this offer here, and I'm going there. So,
switching gears here, there has been quite a bit going on with the Reds. Again, I wore this shirt, the Nick Castellanos, Jesse Winker All-Stars shirt.
rocking my Park Baller Z shirt.
R.I.P.
I wore the frosty white.
Thanks.
It's the Diamond White collection, Ed. Get it right. Take it back.
Goodness. It's frustrating, man. I mean, all of a sudden.
Oh God.
All of a sudden.
Is he even still around?
Who knows? I don't know who's on this team anymore. You don't know who's on this team. So
I don't think anybody is, to be honest with you.
I mean, there's some names. A lot of them are
Joey
injured.
Votto. Yeah, Joey Votto's still on the team.
Joey Votto.
Joey Votto.
Luis Castillo.
But before we jump all the way into Reds talk, there was the announcement that they agreed to bring back the ghost runner on second base in extra innings. That's going to be a thing again. The roster's expanded from 26 to 28 from April 7th to May 1st.
Why are we adding ghost runners again? I thought we got rid of it.
They agree. Yeah, they talked it out. They're bringing it back, and then pitchers can stay.
It's the shittiest rule we have, right?
I dislike it, but some people like it.
You don't even have pitchers hitting anymore. Why do we need ghost runners?
Yeah, that's terrible.
That should be the rule. Here's the rule: if you want a ghost runner, it has to be the pitcher.
Yeah. There's actually a rule. There's actually a rule where you can not use the pitcher as the ghost runner. That's part of it. And then pitchers can stay in the lineup after you replace them on the mound. The only team I can think that helps is the Anaheim Angels and Shohei Ohtani.
Or Michael Lorenzen.
He's also there, so
right.
It only helps the Anaheim Angels. I guess whatever. Like, I'm all. You know what? If we have to have the automatic runner on second base to be able to have universal DH, I guess I'll make that.
The Reds were trendsetters with this whole thing, though, for a long time. Because even before Michael Lorenzen, we had Micah Owings, if you remember that name.
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was a guy who we would occasionally throw in the outfield just so he could get another crack at the bat.
Yeah. Jeff over in the chat saying he thinks maybe it's going to start in the 12th inning now that they do that. The article that I saw, it was literally right before I was jumping on here. Just mentioned that it was coming back, that it needs like they've agreed on it. MLBPA, they've agreed on it. The owners have to have a majority vote on it on like Monday or something, but it's coming back.
I hate it.
Well, if it means we get to keep the universal DH, if they're, whatever. I don't think that they're actually linked like that, but if I link them in my head, it makes me be able to accept the automatic runner.
Who's Chad talking about?
The guy wearing the Bengals hoodie that has red hair.
And like did like a spike thing.
There's always like this. Okay, thanks, Chad.
He was making a joke.
Can we block Chad from tonight's chat since he blocked me last night?
He also misspelled Andy, so you could read it better.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. So Max Schrock is still around. I guess he had some hits. And it would be Farmers, the utility guy. You know what? Max Schrock's not all that bad. Maybe we'll have Max Schrocktober again.
Woof.
I don't know. All right. So there have been some players recently that have left, and also not recently that have had some pretty strong feelings, things. Some of them directly at the Reds, some of them veiled comments on the Reds.
Well, we talked about it last week.
Specifically their ownership, and it happened again this week.
Yep.
With another guy. Last week I think we brought up the Zach Cozart like Snapchat. That's a wow.
He's muted. That's even better.
And he's gone. And
I muted myself because I had a burp. That's wrong.
That makes it even better that you muted yourself because you had to burp.
So after the things started happening last week with the what appeared to be a full-on fire sale that was apparently not a fire sale, but we all know it is. Yeah, Zach Cozart. I don't know if this is like Instagram or Facebook Reels or
it's Instagram
Reels or
I believe
whatever.
It's Instagram, yeah.
But he basically came out and said, Reds fans, you deserve better. Unfortunately, this is how they operate. I lived through it. We always wanted to win for you guys. So yeah, kind of starting to come out of the woodwork a little bit with that. Jesse Winker, and that was after the Jesse Winker Suarez trade. Obviously, Suarez, I don't think has it in his body to make any kind of jabs of any sort at anyone. He's always about the good vibes, and we appreciate that. We also appreciate the fact that Jesse Winker, he makes a comment about he's going to Seattle and says, I've always wanted to be a part of an organization and team that is really going after winning, is really going after chasing division titles and making a run for a ring. That's what we have here in Seattle, and I'm excited about it. And by him saying, I've always wanted to be a part of an organization, there's only been one other organization he's been a part of.
Yes.
So if that didn't check the box, then for the things he's wanted to be part of an organization that does, we know who he's talking about.
It sucks that we are all behest to the, I use this word tongue in cheek, the poorest owner of a franchise in baseball at a mere $400 million net worth.
Was it 400 million? I think last week we read it was 200 million.
No, I think it's 400. I think 270.
It was like a quarter of whatever the St. Louis owners got. So
270 sucks. 270 million is what him and the ownership group bought the team for.
You're right, 400 million. Yep.
Yeah. So he's poor. Then Wade Miley popped back up in an interview with Bobby Nightingale, the Inquirer.
Yeah.
And he said, I guess, he was asked kind of about the roster moves that were going on, which at the time, himself, Sonny Gray, Suarez, Winker, and kind of thing. He's like, hey, it's a little bit of a pattern there ever since they had that core group in 13 or 14. Ever since those guys left, they kind of try, then stop, then they try again, and then they stop. And I think that's what it feels like for us. It's like there's this, and by us I mean fans. It's this.
Yeah.
You look at it and you're like, hey, they went and they got this guy and they spent this money and they did this and this, and the team is almost right there. They're almost ready to make a run, and maybe there are a couple things they could add or attempt to add that they always say, oh, it just didn't line up for us. We tried, but it didn't line up for us. And they come out and they make these statements about, oh, we're really making a push for this guy, or we're making a push to fill this slot. And then, the trade deadline comes and goes, and they didn't. And so we are all looking at it like, did you really try? And a good example of that is the next guy that had a comment, which is Nick Castellanos, who just a week ago, they said that they had zero contact with his team of people. Zero. No contact at all. And then suddenly, his name pops up that, the Phillies are making a run at, they're making a run at him. And suddenly now the Reds are also, making a last ditch effort. You can't have a last ditch effort if you have no effort at any other point in time. That would be your only effort. And it was probably not very good. And at the point where you've already started getting rid of pieces of the team from last year that were good, what's going to make a guy like Nick, who has always said he just wants to win? Yeah. He's always been blunt. He's I don't think he's cocky or arrogant or like in a negative way. He knows what he wants. He says what he believes, and that's what he lives by. And this quote that you're about to hear, I don't know how long it is if you'll hear the question, but it's in reference to the Phillies owner, John Middleton,
30 seconds,
who made a comment and said that he was willing to go over the luxury tax to sign Nick Castellanos.
When you hear that John Middleton said we can go over the luxury tax because you're the right player and the only player that they would have done this for, how much does that mean to you?
I mean, it's a lot of respect. At the end of the day, baseball comes down to ownership. The owner either wants to invest and cares about winning or doesn't. So it speaks a lot to who he is. So Philadelphia should be pumped that that guy is behind the Phillies.
This team, do you legitimately think this team has a chance to win a World Series?
We'll see at the end of the year.
My heart breaks every time I hear that quote. It hurts. It hurts.
It does. I mean,
it hurts, dog.
How can that not be? So there's somebody on the Twitter who says that is not.
Say his name, man. Say it with your chest.
There's somebody on the Twitter who says that I don't, guys. I think you're reading too much into it. I think he was just talking. No, he blatantly said ownership,
and he never just talks.
No. And when he wants to say something about somebody he shouldn't say, he has a fan do it.
You're right.
Yeah. When he talks about who shall not be named.
I mean, these are all of the things that us as Reds fans kind of thought were going on. We know they're going on. We want to hope that that's not the case because we're fans, and we would never believe that one of these, owners isn't in it for the right reasons of winning at whatever sports ball game we're, rooting for. And you've got guys that have played for the team, that have been in that environment, in that culture, and they're all out here saying what we worried the most was the truth.
Yeah.
And then you've got a guy like David Bell, who is the manager. And obviously he's not going to, he's still the manager. He's not going to come out and say, I wish they would get me some guys. I wish they would do X, Y.
Well, he's also not the one making the moves.
He's not making decisions.
He's not. You're right. And that's what I'm trying to get at here is like, he also can't, he can't just like blatantly attack ownership either. As the current manager, but he comes out and says, we're getting better. But
let him play a clip.
I don't know exactly how it's all going to come together. It's not entirely clear, but I know we are getting better in a really weird way to get to where we need to be. I don't know exactly how it's all going to.
That's him saying, I don't know what the hell is going on.
I don't think the Reds front office knows what's going on.
Because you move a guy like Miley, you pick a guy like Miley up, who was injured last year,
Mike Minor,
for almost identical contracts.
and you send away Amir Garrett, who, okay, I know he's had his rough patches, but like,
well,
I mean, who are you going to fill his spot with?
I think a change of scenery was good for Amir Garrett, if I'm being honest.
No, I mean, I'm happy for Amir. I hope he goes and does well. I know Jeff over here in the chat brought up the fact that we did just sign like what appears to be a pretty good reliever. I'm assuming he's referring to Hunter Strickland,
who I believe, did I read it correctly? He's a 2-time World Series champion, or at least twice appeared in the World Series.
That's possible. I didn't really look that far into it. I looked into him from last year. He started the year in Tampa Bay, was traded, had like 16 appearances, or 16 innings there as a reliever. Had pretty good showings there, and then was traded away to, where did I put him at? It's down here at the bottom.
Didn't he have like a 1.78 ERA or something?
When he was at Tampa Bay, and then he went to Anaheim. He only pitched like 6 innings. He was not good. He was not good at all. And they actually designated him for assignment. And then the Brewers picked him up, and he pitched really well for the Brewers for the latter part of their season.
So throw that quote from Jeff up that the Reds make no sense this year. Because here's what I've made of the moves that they've made. Reds make no sense this year. I can grasp the trades, but why not just keep Miley? Here's what I think happened. Is the Reds went into full-blown fire sale mode. And then they realized, oh, this is wildly unpopular with the fans. And these are the people we have to try and sell tickets to. We fucked up. And all of a sudden, they're trying to make moves to go back and try and make up for some of those moves. I mean, now granted, we had Clay on last week, and he says that we are doing some things and bringing some guys in who will be pieces in 24. So I think they're still keeping that 2024 mentality in, but I think they're also trying to, I don't know, kind of figure things out with how to start patching the holes for where they've messed up already through this process.
Is that not what they always do, though?
That's what's maddening about this ownership.
They either hold on to guys way too long before they've already decided that they're going to have this, they're going to try and move, and then they just don't move them.
Jeff, this is why Dick Williams just quit.
And I know we had that on our list of things to talk about last week, and we didn't bring it up, and it's been talked about here and there, but we're seeing again, it's confirming everybody's thoughts on why Dick Williams out of nowhere seemingly was like,
why wouldn't you? Because this looks terrible. If you're trying to get another job somewhere,
the season before,
of you being a competent GM,
the season before they spent like crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Dick Williams is like, "No, I'm leaving," and we were like, "That doesn't make any sense." Ownership let him do what he needed to do, and he's like, "No, I'm out. See you." Like
I can't.
And he announced that before that season was over. That was in like August. He was like, I won't be returning next year as the GM. And it was like, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Because they wanted him to be the guy. They needed a face for the full meltdown. And
that face, they couldn't have picked a better face than Nick Kroll for the, I mean, he maybe is a nice guy and maybe is smart, but when he gets up there, and I'm sure, he's probably given some things he needs to convey, he does not convey anything other than, I'm not really sure what we're doing, but we're going to send this guy here and this guy here. We're going to get this guy back. And like, we want to eliminate this and that. And yeah, as fans, we see like the peaks and valleys thing. And I think Clay talked about it last week.
We talked about that last week.
But like you see the peaks and valleys thing, but when you are an emotional fan at this point, because you see all of your favorite guys, and maybe some of them need to go. Maybe some of them need to like whatever.
I think Jeff's right here. Is saying Bob wants them to win a championship, spending under $100 million. The Marlins have done it. Tampa Bay and Oakland are successful every year doing it. The problem is Cincinnati is still locked into a Joey Votto contract that does not allow them to be a team doing that.
And don't get me wrong, I don't want them to. I don't, what Castellanos was able to get in Philadelphia. I don't want the Reds spending that.
Agreed.
We all know, like we've had his brother on this show. We've had but I'm happy he got that money. By
the way, we miss you, Ryan.
Happy he got it somewhere else.
We do miss you, Ryan.
We miss you, Ryan. We just want to talk baseball.
Park ballers. So yeah, like, and if that is truly, if we're going to try and put a happy spin on the end of this part of it, if kind of Clay's thoughts on it from last week, targeting 2024, making this a team that can stay competitive and isn't locked into huge, crazy deals all the time, and can win with guys before they make their big, giant paydays. Okay. If that's truly the plan, but like we said last week, and I know it gets reiterated elsewhere, but like we kind of brought up last week, just make the plan clear. Tell us what's going to happen. Tell us why you're doing it in a way that all of the fans can understand, and that we don't need to bring on justbaseball.com's Clay Snowden to break it down for everyone.
So you guys know that I listen to Dan Le Batard all the time.
Yeah, you do.
And he weekly brings on David Sampson. And David Sampson was the GM of the Marlins under the ownership group that owned the Marlins prior to the Derek Jeter ownership group. The team that sold most recently, 2 years ago, I think it was. And David Sampson is very straightforward about a lot of things, especially since he has no intentions of ever going back to baseball. So he gives a huge peek behind the curtain often. That said, I think if we were to ask David Sampson about what the hell's going on here, he's going to tell you, like, there is a meddling owner who cannot help himself, because he says that many teams across baseball have meddling owners that can't help themselves. They either fall in love with a guy, even though they don't know what, like, the actual baseball, like the advanced stats, even the managerial gut feelings or the managerial relationships they have with these guys, and how they know that the guys will play or won't play, or etc. Like, he doesn't care. He wants them on the field, or he wants to assign them for longer contracts, or he's already negotiating for a contract with an agent in the offseason prior to the agent even talking to the GM and not knowing what the GM's intentions are. So I think that what you have here, if I'm guessing, just having listened to as much of David Sampson as I've listened to, I would guess that you have that same situation here in Cincinnati, where you have a meddling owner, as we've seen with just how reluctant they were to blow the whole damn thing up when you had Jay Bruce here, when you had Brandon Phillips here, when you had all of those guys, even kind of going back before that, when you had Adam Dunn here, when you had Ken Griffey Jr. here, and we were just holding on to these contracts when we could have traded them at a higher value. Now, I know that Jeff brought it up earlier in this conversation. Not you, Jeff, here, but Jeff in the chat here brought up that we did actually sell high on Winker. Correct. We sold probably not high on Gray, but about where we should have traded Gray.
Yeah, I think we sold high on Chapman back in the day too.
No, we sold after he got into a domestic violence.
Yes, we gave him away.
To the Cubs, and then he won a championship with the Cubs.
We gave him away to New York. He went to New York, and New York made a killing on him, sending him to the Cubs. He won a championship, and then they signed him back
in New York. Yeah,
I forgot that even happened. Jeez.
Yeah, I forgot about that now.
Yeah,
I think that's actually that's not where we got Sonny Gray.
Yeah, we got Sonny Gray from he came from the Yankees, but
he came from the Yankees. I'm saying that wasn't with the Chapman deal. No, I
don't believe so.
No,
we got rinsed on the Chapman deal.
Well, and we did the same thing with Johnny Cueto. We got hosed in that deal. Like, they just the other kid we sent out or didn't sign, the one who stole from McAlpin's or whatever.
Mike Leake.
Mike Leake.
I don't think it was McAlpin's. I think McAlpin's has long been closed, but
Macy's, whatever.
Yeah,
it was
probably Macy's. It was like a couple T-shirts or something. Yeah,
McAlpin's.
he was also another pitcher that could hit.
Lazarus.
By the way.
I don't know where he stole from. It was one of those department stores, but
yeah, Ken Griffey. We are still paying. I think he currently sits as the sixth highest paid Red. For this season.
Unreal.
This is on Bobby Bonilla Day.
Well, that may have changed with the signing of Minor.
I think this was after Minor.
Unreal.
I don't know what the Strickland deal looks like. And there's been there's obviously, they're not going to jump over what we're paying Griffey, but there have been some other non-roster invitees and some other random signings here and there, probably just, filling out some of the spring training time. Because we do have quite a few guys that are going to start the season injured. So
yeah, one even got injured today.
Oh, who got hurt today?
Mike Moustakas.
Yep.
No.
He hurt his wrist or his shoulder. They weren't sure in the game. Making a play on a ball.
At least it's not his heel though. Last year that was bad when he hurt his heel last year.
Yeah.
There was also a comment, I'm going to look and see if I can find it, I guess made by the Dodgers broadcast today about the Reds. If I can find it real quick while you in Cincinnati. So this is
Bearcat Mick, who are you talking about right now?
Who are we talking
about? So the Dodgers broadcast crew today, and this has been tweeted out numerous times, so I assume it. They said, in Cincinnati, with all due respect, how do they look ahead optimistically? Castellanos is gone, Suarez gone, Winker gone, Sonny Gray gone, Amir Garrett gone, Wade Miley gone, Tucker Barnhart gone.
That's not including Michael Lorenzen gone. Michael Givens, who might have been our best bullpen arm, gone.
Probably right there tied with one Luis Sessa.
We did get Jake Fraley.
Now I feel bad for Sessa and Wilson. They got brought in at the trade deadline last year. Now they're stuck. I feel like
they hate it here.
They gotta hate it here. And then so I didn't even realize, because I've been so baffled by everything else going on. Forgot TJ Antone's probably going to be out for almost all of this year.
Well, he hasn't been right since they got rid of the sticky stuff.
Yeah.
But he's going to be, he had Tommy John, so he's going to be out for probably the whole year. Sims is back and healthy, but he is not on schedule to return because he's still building his arm strength.
Another one who hasn't been right since they got rid of the sticky stuff. Did they have anything? I don't even think that's been talked about.
No.
Throughout any of the negotiations.
Oh, they should have negotiated that. I want it back.
Right?
So you've got
get the sticky stuff back.
You've got
let's go back on lockdown.
Especially with the DH, with a universal DH, just let them go all wild with the sticky stuff. Use super glue. Who cares?
Maybe just a little bit of sticky stuff.
What's that
but
stuff
you've
called?
got, you've lost, like we mentioned, Lorenzen, Givens, Garrett, all out of the pen. Gone.
That's right. They did sell high on Winker to get rid of the Suarez contract.
And then in that deal, the main piece of that deal, Williamson, the kid that played with Lodolo at TCU, the big lefty. We get him. We got Fraley in the outfield.
Can we talk about Fraley for a minute?
Go ahead.
He's a fun follow on Twitter.
Yes. Yeah. He gives. That's a good dude. We might need to reach out.
Jake is here to give you everything he's got. Who? I knew this would slip people up, and they forgot my last name. I was reading that, Ed.
I don't know what happened. Hold on, I'm pulling it back up. Hold on, give me a second.
Reset. Yes. To your point, though, Aaron, he is a great follow on the Twitters, and
Just no holds barred. He said,
For
I
some
knew
reason-
I knew this would slip people up. They forgot my last name. Jake Fraley is the name, not just Jake.
Not just State Farm Jake.
He had another one here too, where some guy said yawn in response to the Jake Fraley signing. He said, I know I'm with you, man. I've told my parents for years that my name's so boring. Wish there was something more exciting, like Scott. By the way, Scott is the one who replied to him. Someone else said, who the fuck is that guy? He said, you don't know Jake from State Farm? Just being stupid. Like, I love it. I'm here for this dude. And his long hair, since apparently that's the type they're going for, as both he and Moran from Pittsburgh comes over. Someone said, as long as he hits for more than his average in his career so far, 190. He said, well, it's closer to 200 than 100, so we're getting somewhere. Have a blessed day.
I mean, from everything Clay said, he's he's kind of a balls to the wall, like all out defensive outfielder.
Like a Ryan Friel type.
Ryan Friel, who is, if you go back way far in the PTP days when we had that talk, and Ryan Friel was in my top 5 all-time Reds.
Fan favorite.
Ooh, that was some time ago.
But you've got in the pen still, so you got Luis Sessa and Justin Wilson, who we brought over from the Yankees last year. Jeff Hoffman.
Oh God.
Is going to be in the pen. If I recall,
at least he's in the bullpen. Better in the bullpen than as a starter.
As I recall, he did all right coming out.
Don't ever start again, Jeff Hoffman.
No. God, I can't even think of anybody else. Tony Santillan, maybe.
Well, he was a starter, spot start last year.
Maybe he goes to the pen to fill in these giant holes we've got out there.
Maybe.
I guess they avoided arbitration with Tyler Knockin and Nick Senzel.
Yeah.
Who was the guy that they kept bringing up last year that even Clay brought up last week? I can't remember his name.
Oh,
he was a
Vladimir Gutierrez.
No, he's a starter.
Yeah, I know that, but I remember him coming up and down. Oh,
he was terrible. He struggled so bad. He had like 2 good games early on before anybody had tape on the kid, and then it was all downhill.
I don't remember, but they've also got some other, like I said, non-roster invitee relief pitchers that they brought into camp, and their names escape me at this point. Is what it is. Castillo also, Luis Castillo, not going to be ready at the beginning of the season. Barrero just had hamate surgery, and I don't know what that is, but it has to do with, I guess, his wrist or hand. So he's going to be out.
Wouldn't have guessed that.
He's going to be out for 6 weeks. So it is officially farmer season, and I'm okay with that. Nick Kirby, not so
Here
much.
for it.
Justin Dunn is the guy, one of the other guys in the Winker Suarez trade.
Perez was his name. Thank you, Bearcat Mick.
CNL Perez.
Thank you, CNL Perez.
CNL Perez. That's who it is.
Good.
Thanks, Bearcat Mick. I remember that.
2 words. Good. Ness.
So Justin Dunn, who is also part of the Winker Suarez thing, I guess he hasn't pitched since June of last year. He's got some shoulder issues. The team was aware of these issues, and per Reds.com, will be months before we see him pitch. And then Moustakis was injured today. Hopefully it's nothing serious, and he's ready to go at the start of the year. Before tonight, at least they were, I don't know if they won in their game tonight, but they were 2-2 and did have a +9 run differential thus far in spring training.
Farm bomb today.
See? Farmer's the guy.
It went 10-8
Okay. So
against the Dodgers.
3-2 spring training games.
It was like they scored 6 in the 6th inning.
F the Dodgers, FLA, all the way right now. The Lakers, the Rams, the Dodgers. Get them all out of here. Hate them all.
So I know that things are what they are right now. I want you to pick a number of wins that you think the Reds will have.
68.
70.
Plus or minus 1.
74.
Are you writing this down?
No, because I'll just come back to the video.
Yeah, because I don't want to be held to this. The
Well,
video
we're
might.
gonna-
The video
it'll
might
probably-
go away.
Yeah, who knows? I'm going to say 74. This could be wildly. I mean, who knows? You're right. If the Inman brings up a good Mr. Jeff Inman here, he brings up a good point. They could be sneaky good if the young guys work out.
That's the thing. That's what's going to happen, right? These guys are going to be sneaky good. They're going to give us all this kind of hope, and I'll just be like, "Hey, we knew what we were doing the whole time, and we're going to go on with this bull crap next year."
No, I mean, here's the thing: is if it works out the way that they want it to work out, and we are consistently competitive, I'm here for it. And
you
they've
hate to waste
expanded
the
the play
season, though. Like you obviously, yes, you want your young guys to play, right? But you want them to play alongside veterans, not just all trying to figure it out together. Where
Right.
Joey's your only vet, like.
Who, by the way,
I mean,
has an Instagram account now.
you got Moose, you got they're
if he can play, if he can,
But
I
at
mean,
least
he might just be in the dugout.
yeah. I mean, player coach.
Just chilling.
Um,
You can hand out the bubble gum.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, look,
Sunflower
it's the
seeds.
Reds. Here's the thing. Like, I will never like that.
No one
That's what's
was buying-
unfortunate.
Jeff, no one was buying Moose and not Suarez in that deal. I promise.
Right.
No.
Yeah, they weren't going to do that. We took also the Justin Dunn, who is injured, kind of thing. Now, and there is also still the player to be named later who apparently they're very high on. And last week's episode, Clay touched on a few guys that it could be, just from his own opinion, and he watches and looks into a lot more minor league stuff than anybody I know. He's probably your best resource for Reds minor league things and other teams minor league.
He read a book that was the equivalent of How to GM for Dummies. I mean,
Yeah. So
I feel like I love Clay, love him, like a fourth wheel of us, if you will. And I when he said he read that book and the CBA during the lockout, I literally thought he meant like I read it during lockdown when there was nothing to do. No, he just read it during the lockout, which meant it was already being outdated.
yeah.
Why would you waste the time now to read the CBI?
So that he would know what was
Yeah,
changing.
history. Yeah.
So he could give us a little more insight on what was changing. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Things could, miraculously turn around. And the thing is Reds fans are Reds fans. Like we're not going anywhere. Maybe some people will bail out, and you're not a real fan anyway. Like I'm not a fan of the whole switching up teams just because you're. Look,
I'm not
you need
switching
to
up
own
teams,
it.
but I'm probably not gonna pay
If
for
your
it.
team
Tickets
ends
to
up
the game.
sucking forever, you just need to own it.
If you want to switch a team, I think that there is precedent.
To Marlins.
As of last week, not necessarily in baseball, but I think there is precedent as of last week
There were a lot of Browns fans
where
that are now
if
Bengals
it goes against your morality and things that you stand for as a pedestal in your life,
We're talking about the Browns.
I think that it's okay to switch alliances.
I would be okay,
With that being said, I
Until-
think it's
well, I
also
would-
okay for us to be Mariners fans.
but I think it would be okay then to also be allowed to switch back in the event that those things are rectified.
Yeah, that would take a whole new ownership group.
Well, I agree, but I'm just saying, like,
Mhm.
unless you find love in your new spot.
Bearcat Mick is done. He's done with Banana Bob.
Bearcat Mick is not a Banana Bob fan. Are you still a Reds fan though, Bearcat Mick?
Hey, by the way, I did tweet Chiquita Banana
Go ahead.
and asked him to sell the team.
Ed, you were awfully feisty on Twitter the last few days. So
I will say that
That's some free time.
I will not personally. If anybody buys me gifts, I do have a birthday in June. I tend to get some sports gifts
Wants
for
to
my
buy you a
birthday.
banana?
No, no. I don't even like to eat bananas. I'm saying I will not be purchasing any Reds gear this year. and that pains me to say it. I don't
really
know.
like the new spring training hats though.
I
Aaron.
walked in to buy the new spring training hat on Saturday, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
I don't want to support an ownership group who will not support my heart.
I can tell you, I'm not going down there spending $87 on any kind of beer.
Nope.
I won't be like, he's costing me mental health. Like I'm not, I don't feel good about this. Like
Literally the only way I'm going to a game this year is if somebody gives me free tickets.
I won't even be doing that, because how do you not spend money in the park? Like that's part of the lure.
But it has to be it has to be 4 free tickets so I can take the boys. Otherwise, I ain't going.
You're still going to be spending even more reason for you to have. You're going to have to spend money.
Yeah, but take the boys to a baseball game.
It's a 98% markup.
But again, the tickets will be free, and I'll just bring in sandwiches and popcorn. You can bring it outside a cooler.
I'm calling bullshit. You're not going to bring a cooler in.
You don't think I will?
No.
I will.
Shot.
Ed's the guy that brings the cooler.
I will bring a cooler. I got a backpack cooler.
Picker, it didn't happen.
All right. If I get free tickets this year, I will take a cooler in with sandwiches, probably going to be Uncrustables, and some cotton candy.
Are you going to put them in an air fryer before you take them in?
Have you seen those TikToks?
I have.
Jeff, if you want an India jersey, find one on eBay or order it from China.
Yeah, go to DH Gate.
There's no reason to support this Reds ownership. None.
Buy peanuts from the guys on the corner.
Buy an India t-shirt from cincyshirts.com. That way India gets the direct pay.
That's fair.
For his name, image, and likeness, as opposed to the Reds.
Sure, they somehow get that too. One time I was at a ball game, and this guy brought in a soft-sided cooler, and it had sushi in it.
This is a Cincy shirt. There is no Reds insignia anywhere. They have no claim to any of this.
I'm sure there's some sort of contract somewhere.
No, there's.
I mean, not with Cincy shirts. I'm sure there's some sort of thing that says the player has to. Oh,
no.
Probably not.
Just.
If they're giving them any money, they would have to put the logo on it. Period. You can make all the eyebrow faces you want, but I don't think you're right.
Just remember, I'm the attorney here in the group.
You were a paralegal. You were a gopher. That's not an attorney. These two things are not the same.
I was a courier.
Even worse.
Bought a house. I thought you need mortgage.
I hate you.
Anyways, Vanderbilt's up 51-49 right now.
I love you, but I hate you.
But anyways, I was saying, I went to a Reds game once, and I was sitting in the bleachers, and this guy brought in a soft-sided cooler, and when he opened that shit up, hey, there was sushi in there.
Yeah, I'm not on that.
I'm not on
sushi.
My life.
I like sushi a lot. I will not run the risk of that.
Heat?
No.
Cooler sushi might be worse than gas station sushi.
I test it on a regular basis eating like Kroger sushi.
Kroger sushi's good.
I feel like that's a hit or miss.
Well, because
it is hit or miss.
At least at our Kroger, we got a station set up where they're making it fresh every day.
Yeah, they've got that station at our Kroger, at the Kroger out here too.
I don't know if they have that out there in the country.
Never buy a roll there that is anything less than the earliest, like the furthest back expiration date. Like if there's 2 or 3 different expiration dates on the different rolls, only buy the ones the furthest away.
Yeah.
Like if your favorite roll has an expiration date of tomorrow,
sorry,
your like least favorite roll has a couple. You go with the least favorite roll because if you or no sushi at all.
Correct.
Sushi.
That's the move.
You go to the other side of the station where they have cold cut sandwiches.
Yeah, you could do that too. But cooler sushi, and it was probably in the middle of July. It was
hot.
100. It was like 110.
There's not
degrees.
enough ice packs.
Oh, it was hot. I remember it was hot.
No way. I don't even care if you're like, but yo, bro, it was a Yeti cooler. I don't care. You know, no shot.
This is where I had kids, so Yeti wasn't even out yet.
So it's probably like a igloo cooler. There's no way.
Like I said,
it was probably like itself was like lukewarm sushi.
It was one of those Pepsi Point coolers, I think. You remember those?
Oh yeah. Where if you got enough of the
you got enough Pepsi Points, you got Hurrier Jet. Yeah.
You know, I won I won a UC basketball jersey out of off a Mountain Dew top. It's like the most like if you look at it, you got to really squint to believe it's a UC jersey.
Did you ever get your gift from? Oh yeah, you got your tickets from the Bud Light giveaway.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah.
Were you trying to? Did you win a cooler at one point from like Coors Light or whatever? Were you trying that?
I was trying it. I didn't win. I just won the
okay.
The giveaway I won was only tickets, but it was cool because it was for me and my oldest first game that he's ever been to.
Yeah.
It was all good. I like that Mr. Inman in our dealer in the chat. He only has an alcohol budget because he brings in all his food.
He brings in Lee's chicken.
Dude,
Hey, is this really Lance McAllister?
Man, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I could eat fried chicken in the heat of the summer. Like
that's right there with sushi.
Yeah.
Like no go.
Like, I love fried chicken. I love fried chicken, but like
I'm in no way, shape, or form am I knocking Lee's chicken hustle, but that is not for me.
Hey, that must be Jeff's out here on the east side, because I think the east side is the only place that has Lee's.
I think I'm going to start distinguishing, talking about Jeff here in the show and Geoff here over in the chat. Geoff.
So anyway, I think that probably brings our Reds talk to a close tonight. But
I'm just wondering how they're going to try and hurt me this week. Like that's where I am right now in my relationship with the Reds.
Oh yeah,
I'm in an abusive relationship. And how are you going to hurt me this week?
And I can't get out of it.
Can't get out of it. I keep going back. I just keep getting hurt. How am I going to get hurt this week?
Oh, see,
Chad's right. Chad's right.
Can't do subs in the summer either.
I'm not trying to do cold cuts. I'm not trying to do cold cuts. No, not at the stadium.
No way.
You know, I've been picking up Subway lately. I've been getting the wraps because I'm cutting the calories. I've been picking up the wraps, and I think they've been putting more meat in their sandwiches lately.
T-Win. El Jefe is Spanish and is pronounced Jefe as in Jeffe. Jefe.
It's Jefe.
Is it?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I'll tell you a funny story about it.
Is that the word for chief also?
Yeah.
Do you like a good Jersey Mike's Geoff?
Like boss chief. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
I get that. I get the Jersey Mike Club, Mike's Way, no tomatoes.
Who knows what he's talking about? There's no double F in Spanish. I did F that up. There's dad joke.
But
double F is in
we
German,
can now move on and talk about something that is much more uplifting in our Cincinnati sports lives, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals.
I appreciate phonetics, T-Win, especially with a name like Win. No, can't do cold cuts at the stadium in the blazing heat. Like, that ain't for me. Eat that inside in the air conditioning.
No way.
Where your mayonnaise is still cold.
Yeah, I don't want warm mayonnaise.
Oh, who gets mayonnaise on a sandwich? Or
on a cold cut?
Yeah.
Get out right now. Who gets
I do put mayonnaise on that. You're right. At Jersey Mike's, get the mayonnaise, the bacon, the Mike's Way minus tomatoes.
Why are you getting bacon on an Italian, which is their best?
No. I'm not getting that. I'm getting this Jersey Mike Club.
Aaron. The Italian is where it's at. It's the only thing to order from any of those places.
Are you serious? Have you not had the club?
No, because I can't not get the Italian.
You get the turkey, and then you get the roast beef, and then you get like provolone.
Crack.
It did. Yeah, it did. And then you get bacon, and they put that mayonnaise on it, or mayo, whatever. And then they put, the
mayo and mayonnaise is the same thing.
As he just called me out for you put mayonnaise on a sandwich. What sandwich are you putting mayonnaise on?
You did, and then you just put it on your fake sandwich that you just made in front of yourself. Good work, PTP Andy.
Hashtag be better, Ed. You can get your shirt on Pardon the Punctuation's website where we sell our merchandise. The hashtag be better Ed shirt.
It's out there now too.
I know, that's why I said it. I have tears on my face.
Yeah, if you want to be better Ed shirt, you can get one. It was approved by Ed.
Oh man, just tears on my face. Good
Oh,
Lord.
hold on. There's probably somebody that wants to say something.
Because we're talking about food, so he has to jump in.
I don't give a shit about sports.
T-Win said Ed probably loves Miracle Whip.
You get to be better Ed t-shirt, tank. You get your grilling apron, hoodie. I think I even put a teddy bear in here. You go, be better Ed. Oh, temporary sold out. That's on me. There's a sticker.
There was a run on the Be Better Ed teddy bears.
And you get a nice polo shirt that you can wear to work too.
So there you go. Get a Be Better Ed.
Nothing for the ladies there.
If you're gonna
free shipping tonight only for the next hour.
Fat Andy, calm down.
Oh.
Can we get Fat Andy shirts?
We work on it.
Gotta have that face on it.
No, this is our storefront.
Ed, tweet it on our Twitter page. You can find it at Pardon the Punctuation.
At PTP Cincy.
Oh, PTP.
If you're gonna take food into the ballpark, like you're taking it in a soft side, right? You're not just
you have to. It's the only thing allowed to bring
bag
in.
of food into the ballpark. So your mayonnaise isn't going to get warm. The right thing to do on a blazing hot summer day is to have a cold cut sandwich to cool you off.
There are not enough ice packs to keep it cold enough in the
Certainly
blazing
not sushi.
heat of summertime.
That's disgusting. A sandwich, you could easily put a Jersey Mike sandwich. You go buy it right before you go to the game. You put it in your soft-sided cooler. Preferably, you get like one of those gallon Ziploc bags so that it doesn't get like soggy. You put it in that. You set it in a soft-sided cooler. You go into the game, and then like in the fourth inning when it's time to eat,
and then it's all soggy. Are
No,
you out of
you
your
put it
mind?
in-
Are you a monster, Chad?
you put it in like a Ziploc bag so it
Chad.
doesn't get soggy.
Let me ask you this. Do you ever order an Italian?
I either order Italian or
Okay.
if I'm feeling frisky, I'll get the cheesesteak, the Chipotle cheesesteak.
Do you get it Mike's way with like the oil vinegar? And...
With onions, no, I don't fucking get it with onions, Aaron.
I'm not worried
Why
about
not?
it. I'm not worried about the onions. I know you don't get the
I
onions.
can't eat onions, Ed.
Because it makes them sick.
I throw up if I eat a raw onion.
But
Instantly. Get your cold guts. Get your cold guts.
There's no sound, Ed.
Oh, I know. I turned the sound off so you guys could talk.
I get it with pretty much everything, but like tomato. I get it with lettuce. I get it with oil, vinegar, salt, pepper, oregano.
How does that not get soggy with the oil, the vinegar? It's a 45-minute walk from parking your car, getting into the stadium, tickets, getting into your seats.
Aaron,
Always.
I don't know
Because they
if you
have
understand
great
this. but-
bread.
Thank you. Also, I don't know if you understand this, but sometimes it's okay if a sandwich gets soggy.
No, it's not.
No,
No,
There is-
sometimes it is.
there
If
is
the
absolutely
outside,
no
if the outside is still
No,
hard,
all the way out
but you
on
got
that.
soggy like right there at the top. You got soggy like right there at the top, like right there in the middle of the bun, right?
No.
No.
Yeah, no, it's
Nothing
not
you
bad.
say.
Here's the thing. Jersey Mike's is the only place you can do this with because the bread is made to withstand everything that's on the sub. Like Subway, disgusting.
Oh, that's
going to
awful.
be a gross, like
That bread is falling apart
Yeah.
immediately.
Normally, I would agree with you, but if you have not had it in their wraps, because again, I'm cutting calories. If you've not had it in the wraps, it is very, very delicious.
We do have potbellies. I've never heard Earl of Sandwich, but we do have potbellies in Cincinnati. too.
I've never tried Potbellies. I just got introduced to Potbellies.
I like Potbellies.
During the subathon, right? During the subathon.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah.
I would think because Potbellies toast their subs,
Yep.
that sub would be able to hold up to being wrapped up, put in a Ziploc bag, and into a soft-sided cooler.
Unbelievable.
I would think, but I've never tried it. I know Jersey Mike's holds up to that.
Jeff, I think we are much aligned in how we sandwich.
I have said
Matter of
there's
fact-
one sandwich. There's one thing that I think is acceptable to put in a soft-sided cooler and take into a Reds game, and that's a Jersey Mike's Italian.
Matter of fact, there is a Bearcat fan who owns a Jersey Mike's in Blue Ash. And if you are listening right now, contact me. You know who you are. Contact me and let's talk about a deal.
Ed's out of control right now. I don't
We
know.
could call it the Jersey Mike Minute.
There are no Earl of Sandwiches in Ohio.
Ed's Jersey Mike's EA or AE Wrestling Minute.
I don't even
I used
see
to
one
love
that.
Schlotsky's. Is there Schlotsky's around anymore?
Schlotsky's it was really good.
Is that the place that that Jennifer Aniston worked at on
No,
Office?
no. That was a mockery of Fridays.
Well, but I think it was named Schlotsky's.
It might have been.
What was the name of the
Schlotsky's though is like a deli.
You're talking
It
about the
has
one
really
with,
good sandwiches.
the one with all the pieces of flair?
yeah. What was that called? Waiting?
No, it was
No
Office Space.
Office Space.
For
Oh,
the
I'm thinking of the
second
other one
time.
that she starred in. That was
Yeah,
They had-
the second movie that starred Jennifer Aniston.
in
There was
Cooking
only
It,
two.
right? What's the name of the guy who was in Van Wilder?
Ryan
Jennifer
Reynolds.
Jennifer Aniston is not in Waiting. Ryan Reynolds is in Waiting. Jennifer Aniston is not in Waiting.
Not?
No.
The nearest the only Schlotsky's left in Ohio is in Maumee, Ohio, and then there's one in Lexington, Louisville, and Smiths Grove, Kentucky. And I have no idea where Smiths Grove is.
I've hit the one in Smiths Grove. That is
shit.
actually like a that's like a super gas station kind of deal. It's not quite Buc-ee's, but it's like in that like vein where it's like a giant kind of gas station that on your way out of Kentucky that I've stopped at just because it's like in that range of like 4 hours, so I need gas.
Yeah.
And they have a Schlotsky's.
I'm just
I
so
think
happy
the-
where this conversation has gone.
Hey, Xavier just zipped the guy up. This guy's bleeding from his head on the TV right now.
Thanks, Ed. Schlotsky's the only one that was around here. I think there was one that was in like
There was
it
one in
Norwood?
Florence. There was one in Norwood.
In Norwood, yeah.
There was one on Houston Road in Florence, kind of like where all the like right by the racetrack.
Norwood's not in Cincinnati.
It was Anna Faris that was in Waiting. My bad.
Yeah, not Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, not
But not the same.
So yep.
Sure, nothing beats hey, T-Win. What a great take. Nothing beats a New York City deli. Nothing beats the best New York City deli. No shit.
You know what I had? You know what I had last week for the first time?
If there's anybody that knows how to like push my buttons, it's T-Win.
He's my hero. He's my spirit animal.
That just makes me explode every time he speaks.
He's my spirit animal. I love Trevor.
He called me a boomer for like 3 weeks, and then we find out he's the same age as me.
I like that you said nobody brings food into the ballpark in just a bag. And Geoff Inman says, I just bring my Lee's chicken in a bag.
You're not supposed to be allowed to do that.
Yeah, hey, if you're bringing Lee's chicken in, they're probably like, oh, it's all good. Go ahead.
We're not messing with this guy. This guy, anything's possible with this guy.
This guy shares. This guy gets a wing and a breast for the security guard. Like, hey,
Right.
I brought you some too, bud. Maybe some wedges.
He hands him a biscuit and a little thing of honey, and he's like, there you go. I'm going in with my bag.
That's Popeyes. If you got Popeyes, you hand him a biscuit and some honey, you're good to go.
You're like, see you later.
Back when I was a kid, we used to have to grease the guy with a 20 to get in. Now it just takes a biscuit and some honey, and you're good to go.
There you go.
Times have changed.
They see him
It's
coming
hard
from
out here.
They see him coming from a mile away. They're like, there's the guy that brings the bag of Lee's chicken in.
We got a 12-piece in there, buddy.
Like, here you go. You can have a wing.
Oh my god, I'm dying. I love
Geoffrey
everything.
says they've never said shit. They always just crack a joke like you eating good.
So here's the thing anymore. Like I'm doing my best so that this is not a 4-person podcast to let you guys just do your thing. And then if I feel like I can take it to another level, then I'll jump in. Like last week, it was with like the little bit of like transfer news, and today it was food. because not taking Jersey Mike's into the ballpark is ignorance. Complete, absolute, utter ignorance.
Just can't get on board.
Yeah,
No,
I agree with you.
try it. Try it one time.
I've just never had Jersey Mike's.
I eat Jersey Mike's on a regular basis.
Jeff,
but
again,
I've got to have it right away.
We are aligned, sir. Like,
that is not a matter of
all the way
whether it is good enough at the ballpark. That is a matter of you have impulse control. So as soon as you order the Jersey Mike's, you have to stuff it in your face.
You're talking about waiting till the 4th inning, which in modern day baseball is 6.5 hours after you've ordered that sandwich.
Chad, this is the same guy who thought that the food would get cold from Galactic with a 5-minute drive over the bridge into Kentucky.
Ed, you're the same guy who claimed he didn't put mayonnaise on a sandwich and then immediately
put it on a fake sandwich in front of yourself.
Well, you're right. I forgot I did put
mayonnaise and then said,
"You're right. I forgot.
I mean, my bad, mayo." Like it's two different things.
You're right. I forgot. I do get mayonnaise on my sandwich. You're right. But like when I'm making a sandwich here at home, I don't put mayonnaise on it, right? But when I'm going to Jersey Mike, I'll get some mayonnaise on the sandwich.
Tomorrow, I'm gonna have the best sandwich that there is.
And then T Win said that you put Miracle Whip on it. What are you getting a chicken parm?
Third best sandwich that there is.
It's slowly falling down the list, Chad.
It's top 5 though. It's top 5. Homemade leftover pot roast sandwich.
Okay.
Where you take it and you warm it up in the skillet, and then you put a piece of pepper jack, you get a little mayo, and you get a little A1 sauce, and you have like a good hearty pot roast sandwich.
I was going to say, you putting that on what kind of bread? You can't be getting that soggy bread. You can't be getting that soggy bread.
I got brioche buns.
Okay.
That I'll toast. I'll toast the brioche buns, top and bottom. You got to toast them so that they're crispy, so that when you put the pot roast on it, it can get a little soggy through the crisp. Like, do you think I'm stupid? Look how fat I am. I love sandwiches.
Sandwiches are good.
Speaking of food, Sunday we went. It was near my oldest birthday. He's St. Patty's baby, but anyway, Sunday we went. He chose Montgomery Inn because that's
nice.
His he loves Montgomery Inn. So
he likes ribs.
We get to Montgomery Inn, and I've got 3 kids, and we walk in, and the lady's like, "You need 3 kids menus," and he's like, "I don't need a kids menu." And so then I'm like, "Son of a bitch."
We've reached that stage.
Well, like he's long done away with getting kids meals.
When did this bastard level up?
He's long done away with kids meals because they don't fill him up. But now
into that.
So we go in and we sit down, and the waiter comes out, and we all start ordering it. My one son, he's still pretty young, so he gets like a cheeseburger and mac and cheese, and my daughter gets spaghetti and gets around to Declan, and he's like, I'm gonna have the take 2 combo with an order of ribs and chicken, and then also can I get a thing of mac and cheese? And he crushed it all.
Way to go!
I'm like,
way to go!
All right,
so, I got a good similar story, but it's not my kid. We were doing Kelsey had a friend over one time, and we went to Dave & Buster's. This was before the end of the world, where you could go play video games.
Yeah.
And so we get there, and Kelsey is like 9 at the time, 8 or 9 years old at the time.
You're not allowed to play video games there anymore?
Well, I mean, you can, but through the end of times, that was a dangerous proposition.
I wanted to make
sure
to have
your hands on a bunch of things that a bunch of
other people
snot-nosed kids had their hands on.
I just want to make sure that came back because
I
didn't know how
it never left. You were allowed to do it. It was just very dangerous.
Yeah.
So anyhow, Kelsey's
swimming at your own risk. Okay.
Kelsey's like 8 or 9 years old, and we go to Dave & Buster's, and Kelsey gets the chicken fingers on the kids menu, and her friend, who I have to pay for, I'll have the ribs.
Basket. Yep.
I'll have the ribs. Half slab or full. I'll have the full.
What?
You better eat them fucking ribs, kids. You better eat them ribs.
Hey, you better call your mom and have her Venmo me.
Right? And the ribs came, and it had ribs and French fries and like mac and cheese. And this 8-year-old girl sat there and mashed the entire thing, an entire rack of ribs, the entire thing of fries, and like 75% of the mac and cheese. And I was like, I'll pay for it. It's like
fair enough.
Game, set, match. Like,
did you lean over to the waiter and go, "Is there like a kids eat free thing going on here?"
She ordered it like she had done it before. She was like, "I have the full slab of ribs."
You took a ringer to dinner, like she knew.
She set me up.
Yeah,
the kid set me up.
Absolutely.
And I'm afraid this is what happened there, and where you're right. Kelsey's just talking to one of her friends, and I was like, "Oh, I think my family's going to Dave & Buster's on Tuesday."
She picked the spot.
And she was like, "Oh, can I come?"
Zoned in. Yep.
Right. Oh,
100%.
You think they mind? You think they mind if I come?
They've got ribs there.
$36 later, I'm like, shit. But she ate the whole thing, so like you win the prize. Like, all right, you eat the whole rack of ribs on both sides. Like, I'm gonna pay for that shit.
I'm paying for them tokens, though.
I'm not even gonna yell. Oh, she paid for her own tokens. Like that was that was like I thought I was being smart. Like, look, we'll take your kid, but you got to pay for your own tokens. And her parents were like, "All right, dumbass, wait till you have to pay for her full slab of ribs."
They're happy to get her off the books for a night.
You know what this kid eats at our house?
Right.
We'll gladly pay for some tokens.
$20 worth of tokens is all it takes. Check.
So my first business trip that I ever took, we went to dinner. We went to this in Yukon.
This is so much fun.
It was in Connecticut. We went to this Bison Steakhouse, and I wasn't sure how rules worked, like corporate wise or whatever. So like I go to order like the cheapest. Somebody's like, "What are you gonna get, Ed?" It's like the cheapest bison steak on there, right? It was like a 6 ounce for at that, it was probably $23. And they're like, "Oh, you're just getting the 6 ounce?" And I was like, yeah, it's $23. They're like, "The company pays for your dinner." I was like, 12 ounce bison steak, please. And a beer.
But what, did you just get a sirloin? Did you get a ribeye?
It was a bison, probably a bison sirloin.
Well, bison have ribs, so you can get ribeyes.
I think it was just there wasn't a bone, so it was probably just a sirloin.
It's just a huge ass cow, right?
Basically, you're right. It's delicious though.
I'm not saying it's not. I've had bison burgers a lot. I've never really done the steaks.
I feel like it's hairier than a cow, but
well, you don't eat that part.
Touche. All right. Moving on to the Bengals.
Ed, kick me out. You guys talk about the Bengals. I don't give a shit. I just wanted to talk about some food.
Hey, bye, Chad.
Yeah.
All right.
Cut him out before you open up the garage door.
So the Bengals had some signings. They had the task in the offseason that they needed to upgrade at the offensive line. We all
Protect
knew
their investment.
I mean, their future, the franchise.
Yeah.
So they add, as we covered last week, they add Karras and Kappa.
Mm-hmm.
They added Hayden Hurst since we last spoke.
Super under the radar kind of ad, I think. I'm a big Hayden Hurst guy.
I like what he's saying so far. I like the fact that he said that year 5 is going to be the one. I like that they brought him in, like $4 million, I think.
It was not like anything. He's going to be able to replace what CJ did on the field. Plus
yes and no. He's not the blocker, or at least he hasn't been the blocker.
So when he came, because he was drafted by the Ravens
as a 20, because he was a baseball draftee, and he came into the league at, I think, like 26 years old.
He got some looks at fullback. He ran. They had some sets where he ran at fullback, which I can't remember the last time we really ran anything with
Pecco.
okay. So
Pecco.
There you go. Like,
Yeah, Becca used to do it.
you know, you sticking back there, but he also, like, when he was with the Falcons, he split out into the slot. Not that we really need like
Actually,
a slot guy, but like,
did Uzama ever slide into that fullback on like a goal line or something?
I don't think I remember that happening.
I can't remember that happening at all.
I just didn't know if he did that like early in his career, perhaps.
And I'm not one of these guys, because like I've seen it a little tiny bit of some people that want to, like, you know, throw shade at CJ for heading up to the Jets. Like, look, you got, like, these guys, they got to do it, and we talked about it last week. Like, he will live on forever in Bengals lore when he was up there and ripped that knee brace off and chucked it in the air, and like,
well,
I was there when it happened, and it was a moment I won't forget. Like, the place went crazy. My kids were going nuts. Like, it was awesome. We were freezing.
And I have some. Well, we're not going to get into that yet. I want to finish talking about Hayden Hurst before we talk about that whole mess.
I don't even think we need to really touch that. To be honest. Yeah, no, I'm a big. I think the Hayden Hurst was like kind of a, you know, because everybody was like, oh, we want Gronk, we want this, which surprisingly I haven't heard that he signed with.
I read an interview. He said that basically he's leaving Tom Brady hanging on a string because Tom Brady left him hanging on a string, not knowing what he was going to do. And he said, I'm too old to be going to training camp and OTAs anyway, so we'll see what happens in a couple months. He's going back to Tampa.
Yeah, I mean,
I saw the tweet screenshot.
Yeah, I bet you do. So anyway, but I think the Hurst signing is good to go on that. And then we rolled in to what was a multi-day saga.
Oh my God!
There's no other way to describe it. I mean,
did you see it continue today? Go ahead. We'll talk about it when we get to it. Go.
Okay. You had everybody and their brother, like guys that like I may not agree with like their delivery of a lot of things or the way, but guys that I have some decent faith in on their calls on what's going on with, you know, Bengals and whatnot, kind of going back and forth. Oh, it's going to happen this day. There's one more hurdle to get over. Oh, winky emoji. You know, like
he didn't pass a physical.
And then like, oh, maybe he didn't pass the physical here.
He's
maybe
in Florida.
That. Like he's going this way, he's going that way. Then some random like dude sees him at Kenwood Mall and is like, then apparently everyone was photoshopping. He's
still here, y'all.
Like, yeah. So
there were two people who saw him at Kenwood and then took pictures. I think people took the second guy that had the picture with him in a full stand up.
Yeah.
Still,
yes.
That was the one that they photoshopped, not the one where he was at Lululemon.
Right, where he was like, yeah. So, I mean, everybody was, you know, really like, we were all kind of, hey, this could be, you know, that final piece that we're waiting for the bank, like as if going and getting Karras and Kappa and like weren't really, you know, enough. Like they're like, oh, I don't believe the Bengals are doing what they're supposed to be. And then, you know, Collins, they waited the whole Collins thing out. They ended up not having to give up any draft picks in a trade situation with Dallas. They wait till Dallas is like, all right, I guess there's no market, and then cuts him. And then they bring him here. He's got, you know, you had Ocho Cinco doing a little bit of recruiting,
which he always does, by the way.
Yeah,
Anytime there's he's kind of like the Travis Kelce of the Bengals in that, like, if there's a big recruit, he's in.
He be recruiting.
Yeah, he's, you know, and there was a lot of like recruiting going on with like some of the other bigger names, like Mike Hilton has been big in that. We found out once this whole thing came to a close that Joe Burrow himself, and you would think, I mean, that kind of goes to his benefit, but you know, he was kind of the guy that sealed the deal. I mean, he brings Karras, Kappa, and Hurst and their wives apparently all over to his house. You got to think Jamar was probably there because he lives next door to him or down the street, whatever. Like we heard that story at the end of the year where he just went up to somebody like, hey, I want to buy your house because I want to live next door to my best friend. So you got to think like maybe he, you know, slid on over, but he brings Collins over to his house. And, you know, then Collins said when he announced it, like, you know, just sent him a message like, hey, deal done yet? A lot of question marks. And then I told him like, yeah, your new bodyguard's in town. Nobody's going to touch you.
Love that. My only concern, and I believe the stat was of the last 33 games, which would be the last 2 seasons, he's only played in 11 of those games.
Yeah, that can't be true. That can't be a true stat because he was suspended the first 6 games of this season and then played the final 12.
Well, it was, I don't, maybe I got it backwards. Maybe it was he played 22 of the.
He has missed games for some injuries.
Yeah.
I think he has like a hip issue. But this year, at least most recent times, I guess he was. I don't know what he was suspended for. I didn't look into it. I don't care because he's back from that, and he played the final.
He bribed the P guy.
Okay. I mean, he's trying.
Well,
Hey.
but also let's not forget that the NFL is looking into letting THC be an acceptable.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know.
Maybe
I don't know if
never
it's.
an
I
issue
don't.
then.
I don't know if it's gone over the finish line yet. At this point, I can't speak on that. I know that they were at least looking into it because they deem it a more responsible recovery than.
And apparently he likes to fish.
Yeah. So this was today. He's just out walking around the Serpentine Wall, and people find him again.
Well, isn't that what the somebody had joked, like he had talked to Bengals Jim about the ocean fish, the big ocean fish he was catching in his pictures. I think that was one of the jokes.
The
at one
Bengals
point.
Gym photo was photoshopped, wasn't it?
Well,
But that one was.
Somebody said that he had talked to. Well, I think that was all part of the joke because Bengals Jim is always talking about the Ohio River, but he's really taking like videos at a beach.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But
Ridiculous.
no, I mean, I'm excited about the whole thing. Unfortunately, with the La'el Collins signing, we've also seen Trey Waynes, which never really worked out, unfortunately.
And that was all injury based.
Correct. He was released. We hope that we don't see any of that rub off under this new deal. We also saw, in a weird turn of events, the Bengals announced that Fred Johnson was signed on in a 1-year tender, just kind of based on the restricted free agent tender, I guess. And then he was immediately released an hour later, which was just kind of weird the way that all spelled out.
It makes sense though.
I disagree, and here's why.
Well,
we don't.
Okay,
We need all the backup right now that we can get, especially with a guy who has an injury history. And if you thought that Fred Johnson was a dude, I don't think you thought he was a dude enough to be like the starter this year. If you didn't sign La'el Collins,
So the reason the Bengals were going to move on from him, right?
then why announce the signing?
Because here's what it did. So he's a restricted free agent, right? So he signs his tender at $2.4 million. Because he signed the tender, any team, and this is from Ben Baby from ESPN. Because he signed the tender, any team that claims him off of waivers will then incur the cost of that tender against their salary cap. If he goes unclaimed, he becomes an unrestricted free agent who the Bengals or other teams could then sign at a lower price. So if they want to bring him back, but they didn't really want to pay him 2.4, he signs it, they release him, somebody else signs it, they take the cap hit. Otherwise, the Bengals could potentially bring him back at a lower price.
I feel like we're talking about maybe a difference of like less than $1 million.
Probably.
So I don't know, man.
But in the I guess the scheme of what they're looking at doing and maximizing cap space makes sense. Especially if they're looking at maybe signing like Gilmore, or that a lot of people say is like never going to happen. Maybe it won't. Maybe it's not a possibility. I don't know. But you can't do it if you don't have the cap space. So like,
Ed, did Eggs just win the condolence prize?
It's an official review. Scottie Pippen Jr. got fouled. I thought he shot the three, got fouled shooting the three, but I guess he fouled him before he shot. made his first basket, then tried to launch it at the rim for his second basket, and it may not have hit the rim. I think that's what they're reviewing right now, but it was rebounded by Fremantle. So the funny part is all the Xavier fans that are huddling around the monitor with the referees.
Because they stormed the court already?
No, it's the guys that are sitting right behind the media bench. They're just like huddling around it with like how that's allowed. I'm not sure, but
because they're a Jesuit school.
I don't know. For as much as they like talk about how much they love their team, they've only had like 3,000 people at the NIT games that have been at Xavier. So, sell it out if you love your team.
1.5 seconds left. I don't know what they're doing.
Huh.
Who cares?
Okay.
It's Xavier. So anyway, you had the Fred Johnson thing, and then
Xavier's gets okay. I got it.
Then of course everybody had to bring back
weigh in.
Ed, are you okay?
Xavier might have just gone off on Xavier on the inbounds play with 0.1 second left.
You're saying it wrong.
It's Xavier.
Xavier.
It may have just gone. Now we're going back to the fucking TV.
It's like XZAYVIER.
Egg Xavier.
Xavier. No, but then everybody brought back up Carson Palmer's
Ed,
comments.
Why don't you put him on mute for 5 minutes? Put him in timeout for 5 minutes.
We put Ed in timeout. There he goes.
No,
Okay.
not Ed. His brother in the chat.
Oh, I thought you wanted Ed in timeout. You're back, Ed. No, so like Carson Palmer made those comments about like right before the Super Bowl, about like that Joe Burrow's got to be asking himself like, do I really want to like re-sign with this team? Like, are they really going to do the things that are? And we all know that Carson's got ill.
Wait, but didn't you guys hate on me?
And,
didn't you guys hate on me for that take?
What?
Didn't you guys hate on me for that take?
I don't think so, Ed.
Yeah, a bunch.
Maybe.
I think it was you guys who hated me for backing up Carson Palmer on that take.
Still,
yeah. For backing Carson's ridiculous take.
No, he was talking about his experience with the Bengals, and when
which was wrong. It was wrong. He had a better line than they've had since him. There's not been a better line than Willie Anderson, Levi Jones, Bobby Williams. Like, what are you talking about?
Okay, that's fair. Whatever.
No, not whatever. Ed, you were wrong.
Who's better? Wasn't wrong.
Name me a line.
Just because his feelings were what they are because he's like,
mad that people threw trash in his front yard. That's what he's mad about.
I would be mad about that. Yeah.
That's why he demanded a trade out.
I would be mad about that.
Sure.
So
I don't know who did it. I don't know why they did it. I think that's shitty. That's just people being shitty. But that doesn't mean that like you didn't have a good line. You didn't have pieces put around you. They were spending money. They brought in Antoine Odom. That didn't work out. They brought in Vincent Jackson, a Super Bowl MVP. That didn't work out. They brought in the receiver from Tampa Bay who never saw the field on a 4-year deal. That didn't work out.
I mean, barring an injury, a freak injury, that team probably goes to the Super Bowl that year.
I don't know what his gripe is. It doesn't make sense.
Anyway, he was just running his mouth to try to, just be negative about the Bengals because they have what he always wanted to be.
I feel like if we were on Super Bowl row and we would have pulled a microphone out and he would have seen it, he would have ran to it to talk shit about the Bengals.
Radio row.
So anyway, so he said all those things, and what did you call her? Emily, would you say her name was?
Whatever, guys.
But the Bengals.
I wanted to say Elizabeth, but I actually typed in Emily, so that's on me. All right, jeez.
The Bengals front office basically said, "Hold my beer." The The Bengals front office said, "Hold my beer," and went out and made some moves for some dudes.
You
Like,
can't tell.
They went to the Super Bowl with like a bottom 3 offensive line.
Oh no, this is a completely different ownership now. I understand.
And I'm not even saying that the line that they just built.
But I also didn't believe it was
a top like 3 line. I'm not saying they flipped it that far.
I also did not believe this was a completely different ownership until they just made these moves. I thought
money left and right.
Okay, so maybe okay.
Incorrect. Go back to when Carson was on his holdout before they even actually traded him. We had already drafted Andy Dalton and AJ Green. We made it to the playoffs that year with a rookie,
but we never put. Okay, we knew there were problems on the line with Andy Dalton, and we did not take care of it. We knew there were problems on the line in Joe Burrow's first year, and we did not take care of it.
The problem was Andy Dalton.
Okay, so the line didn't just let Joe Burrow get his leg broken into 2?
Yes, that did happen, correct.
So that's what I'm saying. So they didn't, we knew that problem going into the season. They didn't fix it. Brand new quarterback, we don't fix it. Okay, lockout year, whatever. They didn't fix it.
Yeah,
then we go into this year and they re-signed Bobby Hart.
They made moves this past year. They did make moves. They brought in Riley Reif.
And he got hurt.
They made a couple moves, but that's just one season. Remember, one year the Reds made a bunch of moves. All right.
They've made moves the last 2 seasons, and now this is the 3rd straight season.
All I'm saying is they had to prove to me that they were.
You don't deserve that diamond white collection hoodie that you're wearing right now. Take it off and take it back.
All I'm saying is they had to
trade
prove
it in for a large and send it to me.
All I'm saying is they had to prove to me, and I believe that in this first week of free agency last week, right? They went out and they bought people, and I'm happy with it. We have a line now. Now, is it going to be harder for us to get to the Super Bowl this year? Yes, there have been some other moves that have gone.
Well, the AFC is awfully tough.
But I think they have well equipped themselves and have themselves in a good standing where they're going to fucking fight for it.
Fairweather Mayhall. Ed Midhall. I love you. I think that's gonna wrap it up, though. That was another episode of Pardon the
Does Ed have 60 seconds of that?
Well, I mean, we could talk about a couple things that have happened.
Well, you don't need to do that.
Do you have 60 seconds of
I don't have anything written out, but I mean the new Pat McAfee.
Hang on. The Pat McAfee clip you sent me was mid, but hang on. If we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right.
Yeah, you can have your 60 seconds.
I don't even know what the guy's name is that he's fighting.
Case in point.
Austin Theory.
Theory.
But well played. You have 60 seconds and starts.
Okay, so
hang on. It starts now.
Okay, so Pat McAfee has been assigned a match against Austin Theory. Austin Theory has been coming out talking shit to him at the announcers table. Aaron, put the vape away, please. He had Vince McMahon told Pat McAfee to come out and apologize to Austin Theory. He told him he apologized that he's a weakless, worthless piece of shit, basically. And then Pat McAfee showed up last night at Raw and interfered in the match. So this is going to be a good fight, I think. But what I really want to talk about is a new WWE 2K22 game that's come out. This game looks freaking amazing. I think when I get back from vacation, I am going to purchase it. But I mean, they have some old wrestlers, some old rings. The graphics look great. The backroom brawl features look freaking amazing. I've also saw in a review today that you could break a ring during one of the matches. That's pretty awesome. So this seems like it's one of the best WWE games that's come out since
and
Attitude.
Time. I think it's funny that they got rid of everybody and they're still throwing them on a game because they don't have a good enough stable anymore.
They got contracts.
Stone Cold's back.
Stone Cold is back.
as
He's,
well.
he's actually fighting. He's actually fighting Ed's doppelganger.
Andy
What?
Dalton.
He's gonna be awesome.
He's fighting Andy Dalton.
No, he's Kevin Owens.
He also put out an American lager because he's had that rattlesnake IPA. Put out an American lager now.
Trying to soak this up for more than it is. That's another episode of Pardon the Punctuation. As
You guys
always,
know what happened?
I thank Ed Midhall and Jeff Howell for joining me on this wild
worst.
ride of a night. I had no idea that we were going to go down
You're the worst.
the sandwich tangent that we went down. Ed apparently loves me right now as much as Greg Mayhall, but we'll see you next week. That was Pardon the Punctuation.
What are you doing, Jeff?
I didn't do anything.
Bye-bye. But up.
Damn it, Jeff.